Toto Wolff has accused competitors of being disingenuous and engaging in political games amid the ongoing controversy surrounding F1's porpoising problem. The FIA issued a technical directive ahead of the weekend's Canadian Grand Prix to tackle the excessive bouncing experienced in F1's new generation vehicles, which has left drivers concerned about the long-term impact on their health. Before we get into the details, be sure to like and subscribe, especially if you love F1 as much as we do. The new technical rule mandates that teams who experience can bouncing adjust the configuration of their cars to protect their drivers while putting a cap on the level of vertical oscillations. The FIA added that it would engage with teams before launching an investigation into how to halt porpoising in the medium term. It came less than a week after Lewis Hamilton was forced to walk gently away from his Mercedes car after suffering from excruciating lower back discomfort throughout the race in Azerbaijan. Wolff feels they are seeking to maintain an advantage by criticizing the FIA's technical guideline, which has taken the first step towards reducing the bouncing found in this year's ground effect cars. Mercedes has suffered the most and has led the campaign for safety grounds, only to be greeted with opposition, most notably from former rival Red Bull and their team principal Christian Horner, who is firmly opposed to a mid-season technical regulation change. "This is a sport where you're trying to keep a competitive advantage or gain it," he said, "but this situation has clearly gone too far." All drivers, at least one in every team, have said that they were in pain after Baku, that they had difficulty in keeping the car on track or blurred vision. "We have long-term effects that we can't even judge, but at any time this is a safety risk, and then coming out with little manipulations in the background or Chinese whispers or briefing the drivers is just pitiful." While Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have been the most vocal about porpoising and bottoming out issues, Wolff believes it is incorrect for competitors to believe his drivers are speaking out to make his cars faster. According to Wolff, plenty of other drivers, including Sergio Perez of Red Bull, are equally upset with the situation. "You listen to the words of Sainz, you listen to what Ricciardo has said, we listen to what Ocon has said, Magnussen, and both our drivers. This is not a team's problem. This is a design issue of ground effect cars that needs to be tackled before we have a situation, whatever it is." Hamilton stated that he has been taking painkillers and undergoing physiotherapy, including acupuncture, all week in an attempt to resolve the back problems caused by bouncing. The issue stems from the fact that the new rules implemented this year have reintroduced a phenomena known as ground effect into F1. For best results, teams would run the cars with very rigid suspension and close to the ground. This leaves them susceptible to porpoising, a phenomena in which a disruption in the underbody airflow causes a high-frequency bouncing on the straights. Furthermore, the car's firm suspension and short ride height can cause them to bounce over bumps. Wolff's comments were in response to Red Bull F1 team principal Christian Horner, who was obviously agitated with the FIA's technical directive for the Canadian Grand Prix, which he described as possibly very dangerous. The Red Bull boss believes it is wrong for the FIA to change regulations in response to Mercedes' troubles, even though the new rule may work against the Silver Arrows. Horner thought the FIA made a premature decision after the second practice session in Canada. The FIA, you can understand safety being their main concern, but to drop a technical directive like that just as we're coming into a weekend without any consultation, it just feels the wrong way to be going about things, Horner told Sky. "It seems a very complicated way to go about solving the issue. It's not an issue which affects all of the teams. I think the inference should be on the teams to get it sorted." Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto stated that the FIA's technical directive went beyond defining F1 laws and introducing changes, which they are not permitted to do. He also questioned Mercedes' ability to quickly introduce a second Flaw stay following the FIA's rule ahead of the Canadian Grand Prix. Wolff, in response, added that Mercedes was not able to add the extra element to both of their cars overnight once the adjustment was made. However, Binotto questions how Mercedes was able to test this out only a day after the technical instruction was made public. McLaren team boss Andrea Seidl felt that the brutality of the porpoising justified a discussion between teams and the FIA. He did, however, emphasize that any team can immediately solve the problem by raising the ride height of their car, but doing so would result in a drop in performance. Aston Martin team principal Mike Crack called the directive's timing as not ideal, while another team head privately stated that the timing was unbelievable and that the FIA's intentions would create a ridiculous degree of complication. A number of senior figures also claimed that they believed FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem had sought fast action in order to be considered as a friend of the drivers. The new technical directives will be fiercely discussed in the run-up to the British Grand Prix, which takes place in less than 2 weeks. Given the diversity of opinions throughout the paddock, it is unlikely that the problem will be settled before the action begins at Silverstone. What do you guys think? Was it right for the FIA to issue a new technical directive mid-season? Comment below and let us know.